Perfect.
Introduction.
Okay, wait. Let me just. Okay. Hi, Lucy and James. How are you?
Good evening.
I'm
Good.
fine, thank you.
What brings you both here today? What legal assistance can we provide you with?
We would like to get married soon, and we'd like some legal advice as to the appropriate matrimonial property system that we can choose.
What specific assets do you each have?
I have no assets to my name, but I have liabilities in the amount of 125,000.
Okay, I have an apartment registered in my name valued at 100,000.
What are your intentions upon marriage? Would you both prefer to have your assets prior to your marriage forming part of your joint estate? That includes both your assets and liabilities. Or would you prefer that your estates be individually administered, which would mean your assets and liabilities would not be joined together?
We'd prefer that our assets and liabilities prior to our marriage be administered by ourselves individually.
Yes, we would.
Okay. According to the Matrimonial Property Act, there are three main forms of matrimonial property regimes in South Africa. Either marriage in community of property, marriage out of community of property, excluding the ACRA system, or a marriage out of community of property, including the ACRA system.
Okay, what do all of that mean? What does that
Okay,
mean?
so Lucy and James, so your first option, which she said, is marriage in community of property. That's undoubtedly the cheapest and most popular form of marriage system. There's no antenuptial contract that is required, so if you marry without such a contract, you will by default be married in community of property. The legal implications are that your estates, including both your assets and liabilities prior to marrying each other, would be joined together, and each of you would have a right to dispose of those assets. You both would be equal concurrent managers of your joint estate.
Okay.
The second option would be a marriage out of community of property, excluding the ACRA system. This is where an antenuptial contract is entered into before marriage, where profit and loss in property is excluded, and each spouse will administer their own estates individually.
So that means he keeps his liabilities, I keep my assets.
Yes.
Okay.
Each has your own.
Okay.
Okay, that seems fair.
But it's not good. You are married, at least ACRA is there.
Okay, let's
Continue.
And then your last option. Okay.
Yes.
So your third and last option would be marriage out of community of property, including the accrual system. So this is where your estates will be administered by yourselves separately. So your profits and losses will not form part of your joint estate. The accrual system would also apply where a spouse will be entitled to share in the growth of the two estates in the event of a divorce, if it comes to that.
So what this means is that he still keeps his liabilities, I keep my assets, but we share whatever we accrue in the marriage. That's
Yes.
what you mean? Okay.
So during the time of the marriage,
Yes.
whatever is accumulated will be shared.
Okay.
Yes.
So which of these regimes would you suggest in your professional legal opinion?
We would recommend a marriage out of community of property, including the accrual, which would be included in the terms of antenuptial contract. As I said before, the advantage of this regime includes that you would share in the increase in your assets accumulated during the marriage. You would not share in your assets prior to your marriage. So he keeps his 125 liabilities, and you keep your flat and your 100,000. During the course of your marriage, each of you would manage your own individual estates, and you would also not be liable for anyone for one another's debts.
Do you both have any other questions for us or anything we can help you with?
We'd like to know if we could be bound by a particular regime, or if we could change our regime at a later stage during our marriage.
Maybe supposedly the liabilities disappear.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That's a good question.
So to answer your question, I'd say no, you wouldn't be bound by a particular regime. This is because in our law, Section 21 of the Matrimonial Property Act allows for variation of regimes during the continuation of your marriage.
Okay.
You both, upon marrying one another, would apply for leave to a court in order to be able to change your matrimonial property system from there, the court would then grant such order if it is satisfied that there is sound reason for the change, that all your creditors have been given sufficient notice of such change,
Okay.
and that no other person will be prejudiced by that proposed change.
Is there anything else we can assist you with?
For now, we are going to have to sit down and discuss this between
Definitely.
one another, and then we can get back to you with how we would like to proceed before we get married.
That's if we get married.
I don't want. I have dates for now, but soon I'll be an asset.
Perfect.
That is perfect. Please feel free to contact us if you have any more questions.